I'm no longer a slave to fear.
Real Cuff Radio is about to begin.
I am a child of God. I'm no
Everybody
longer
loves a
a
hero.
slave to fear.
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
Oh, I am a child.
Well, welcome to Real Tough Radio. And tonight we have a stuntman. And first of all, I want to say, I don't think that stuntmen get enough credit, that they don't receive enough awards for the things they do. And especially after I've been hanging around Chuck Bell, who was a stuntman, and he's also a director and an actor. And Chuck tells me, you've got to interview this guy. You know, he's got a great story. And then Bob Ivy, who's also a stuntman, tells me, well, you need to read his book. And I said, well, Bob, I didn't know he had a book. And I'm interviewing him in 2 days, which is not going to give me time to read a book. So I've got on the line Dean Smith. How are you doing, Dean?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Having a good day, and it's the weather's been pretty good here on the ranch here. I live between, I live about 60 miles from Abilene, about 90 miles from Fort Worth, and it's a farm that I was raised on when I was a kid here, and we live near Graham and Breckenridge in Abilene, and so we're out here in West Texas, and this is where I spent a lot of my life. Of course, I've spent about 50 or 60 years out there in California and doing movies and stuff like that, and made the 52 Olympic team there in the Coliseum, and so I've had a pretty good career in sports and movies and stuff like that.
Well, first I want to tell you thank you for serving in the military.
Well, I had to do that at Fort Ord, California, out there, right near Carmel and Monterey. That's where we took our basic infantry training, and it was really nice to be stationed there. Carmel is one of the most beautiful places in the world, not too far from Mount Simeon and, of course, San Francisco. And but anyway, it's a great area up there in that area.
I also want to mention that, Dean is a Texan, which, may not mean a lot to my listeners, but it means a lot to me. Matter of fact, my last son, my youngest son,
mm-hmm.
I flew from California to Vegas, bought a van that had one of those lay-down things in the back, drove back, picked up my wife, drove her all the way to Texas just to make sure my boy was born in Texas. So.
Now that's something to brag about.
Yeah, well, and then I had to drive back out there and pick up our car. But besides that, so tell us about the Olympics.
Well, I made the 1952 Olympic team, and we had the Olympic trials there in Los Angeles at the Coliseum where they had the 32 Olympics, and but anyway, I had spent a lot of years doing cowboy and western movies there, and I did a lot of, stuff there when I was at the university, running out there in California, and I signed with the L.A. Rams in 1957, and I've had quite a career out there.
So I know you won a gold medal. I think you won a bronze in, was it the 100-yard dash? I
won a gold medal in the 400-meter relay. I wasn't in the triathlon or anything like that, but I had quite a career in sports there. I did a lot of all-comers track meets and lived there in the west end of the San Fernando Valley, and but anyway, we really we've had a real good career in sports, and we used to compete. The University of Texas would compete against the University of Southern California, and we had the world record relay team, and they did too. So we competed against each other quite a lot.
So you signed on with the Rams
I signed with the Rams in 1957. I was a free agent. I played with them 1 year. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, tell us then, how did you end up as a stuntman?
Well, I just being a cowboy and doing a lot of things like that as a kid growing up, and like in Western movies and stuff like that. I thought that was my best way of breaking into the business, and so that's how I got in that business. I lived in the San Fernando Valley in Woodland Hills. I got to work out a lot there. I lived near a college there called Pierce College, and we had a chance to do a lot of things in all those different venues there.
You know, if I had known Chuck Bell when I was younger, and all the stories he tells and everything else, I probably would have, as soon as I finished airborne school, you know, in the Army, I probably would have went out and became a stuntman too, because
well,
especially while I was in shape.
I love Westerns, and I was brought up on them, and on Saturday and Sunday we'd go see these Westerns here in Graham and Breckenridge when I was a kid. But meeting a lot of people there in that area in the San Fernando Valley, it was a thing that interests me, and that's what I did,
So you did a lot of rodeo stuff growing up then, huh?
I did that here in my area where I grew up, around Abilene, Graham, Sweetwater, Big Springs, being near Fort Worth and Dallas and Weatherford. This area here is kind of a western kind of a part of Texas here, big ranches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually went to a rodeo college down in Uvalde, and I tried bull riding one time, and pretty much, that was one time, and that was about it.
Like I said, I worked on the Alamo with Wayne back in 1959, and I spent 6 months down there doing that. And but it was a lot of fun doing the movie with John Wayne and all of them down there. We had a lot of fun working there on the Shahan Ranch there.
Well, tell us some stories about some of these different actors you worked with, and what was your favorite? And
well, I've worked with just about everybody. I've doubled Roy Rogers, and I've worked with Gene Autry and Eddie Dean, and worked with John Wayne on a lot of his pictures and stuff like that. It's been quite interesting. My path has followed me all over the place here, And then working on the Alamo there, we were there in South Texas, and that was right there on the Rio Grande at Bill Moody's ranch down there. And but it was quite an interesting thing to work at Alamo Village, and they built that especially for the John Wayne picture, the movie The Alamo.
Well, I mean, truthfully, it looks just like the Alamo, and then with the whole little city and everything. I know a lot of movies are still shot there today, but
well, they still come in there and try to do quite a few of them. But Jamie and Walt own that ranch. Their name, she is a Shahan. Her dad is Happy, and but anyway, it was really interesting. We worked there, and my wife and I, 20 some odd years ago, got married there in the little church there, where they did the Alamo.
Really? That's kind of neat.
That's pretty damn neat. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
I do remember Willie Nelson. He shot a movie there. I do remember, like I said, Roy Clark and Mel Tillis and Burt Reynolds and all. They did a movie called Uphill All the Way, and I played an extra in that. But yeah, I actually finished high school in Del Rio, which is 30 minutes from there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I let's see who I knew. Hadley and all of them down there. they were just a bunch of great people down there. And
oh yeah, very friendly place, very friendly people.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like everything you've done, God's just kind of had His hand on you your whole life.
He has. Well, I guess it's because that's what I kind of had an interest in, And
yeah.
But anyway, we had a lot of fun. I ran my first track meet. We ran at the Border Olympics in Laredo in 48 or 49, and we went through San Antonio there. And but I have good friends that live there and that went to school with me at the University of Texas, and yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
So tell us more about the stuntman work.
Well,
how did you get into stuntman?
Well, I was raised on a farm and ranch and could ride and run and jump, and I was an Olympic sprinter, and I had good legs, and just going out there and getting in that business, it worked out that I could compete with all those guys and do all those different things.
Did you know Chuck very well, Chuck Bell?
I knew him fairly well. I didn't know him extremely well, but I knew him as a stuntman in Hollywood.
Bob Ivy told me to ask you about good Chuck, bad Chuck.
Yeah, well, Chuck Hayward, and Chuck Hayward was good Chuck. Chuck Roberson was bad Chuck. Chuck Bell, he was just another Chuck. But anyway, I knew all those fellows down there, and that when I got in that business, it was pretty interesting. But I enjoyed working on the Alamo there in '59, and '58 we did a movie called Two Rode Together with John Ford, and so all of that, kind of worked its way into being there together.
Now, I did see some pictures of you with Reagan. So did you do a movie with Reagan?
Ronald Reagan?
Yes.
Well, I did some movies with Dale Robertson, and we did Death Valley Days and all those shows. And but anyway, all of that kind of all worked itself together there.
Well, in the '80s, they sent me to film a documentary on student involvement in political activities when he was president. They sent me out there to interview him. I had never really even seen any of his movies before that. And anyway, to me, he was probably the best president we ever had. So. Oh,
definitely. He's one of the nicest guys you ever met in your life. Just a wonderful fellow.
Well, any favorite stories you have about the movies?
Well, other than just, I'm 87 years old. I've been around a lot, seen a lot of things, been a lot of places, and that's just about the size of everything. I worked on a lot of things, worked with a lot of great people, a lot of great actors and stunt people, rodeo people, and anyway, that's about the size of everything. Made the Olympic team there in '52. I've competed in lots and lots of track meets in California, and so really been there, done that. Had associated with a lot of great people.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've led an interesting life.
I have been very blessed. God has been very good to me, and I have been able to enjoy getting to do the things that He let me do, which was I could ride, run, and jump with just about anybody living, and I had good talent and spring in my legs.
All right, well, Dean, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, God bless you, and I wish you well, and just keep enjoying life and trying and keep your curiosity up.
All right, thank you.
Well, have a wonderful day.
You too. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, this is Real Cuff, and I want to thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. YouTube completely removed our channel for a couple of years, but now we're back. Thank you.